Thank you for being here. And my talk this afternoon or today is maybe going to be a bit different than what you heard elsewhere, in a sense that I'm not going to talk about software, I'm not going to talk about IT, I'm not going to talk about implementing or integrating with Odoo, but I do see a link with the company, and maybe it's the founder, Fabien Pinkaers, who I think got the gist of what I'm about to tell you. Now, I'm here because of my second book, which is called, in English, The 10 Million Euro Woman. And if you're a man and you're in the room, don't run away, I'm addressing you as well. Have you thought, if you have a business, have you ever thought of your business as a source of cash, as a source of profit, and as a source of personal wealth? That's what I'm going to talk about. And my advice is to begin with the end in mind even before you start your business. And I tweaked this principle from Stephen Covey, the 7 habits of highly effective people, a bit, to talk about how to begin with the exit in mind. And this is venture capital, private equity speak. They think about exiting a business they invest in even before they do the investment. Now, if you look at entrepreneurs, they have something in common. They start out with a dream, a passion. Maybe it's a hobby that got out of hand. And if you ask any entrepreneur what their ultimate goal is, you get the same reply. It's freedom. Now, before I head into my talk, maybe a few words about myself, because I'm not that arrogant to think that you all know me. But I do different things. I combine different activities, and for me, at the age that I have now, it's the perfect combination. I have my 5th company, so I'm an entrepreneur, a serial one, and an investor in different things, among which small businesses. I also teach and do research at an institution of higher education, UCLL, which is part of the KU Leuven group. And what I'm researching is female entrepreneurship. And it led to 2 books in the meantime. My first one was written 4 years ago, which is called The 1 Million Euro Woman, and is a growth guide to help founders, and especially female founders, grow to their first €1 million in revenues. And my second book I just mentioned, and that's the reason why I'm here. Now, why is my focus on female founders? Well, I'm a female founder to begin with, but if you look at the world out there, the number of entrepreneurs and the investment going into female-founded companies, we still have a discrepancy. We have less female founders receiving less money, having smaller businesses, hiring less people, doing less lucrative exits, and having less money to invest in other businesses. But I'm returning to the subject now. Most businesses don't think about exiting their business. Usually it's selling their businesses well ahead of time. This is an example of a company in Wallonia who, after many, many years, tried to sell to another company or another buyer and didn't find someone to take over. And I read these stories every single week. So they don't think about their exit, or they think about it quite late when they're nearing their retirement age or when they're fed up with running their business, let alone that they think about the exit value that they want to build while they are running their business. Now, if you compare a business owner, a founder, an entrepreneur with an employee, usually we work more hours than an employee does for someone else's business. So my first question to any founder out there is always the same. What happens to your business when you stop working? And I usually get the reply, but what do you mean? Well, what the question says. What happens with your business when you stop working? Now, if you look at this picture again, you can imagine a whole lot of things. I'm on top of the world, on top of my business, I'm doing what I like, I see a lot of opportunities. And as I mentioned, the ultimate goal for most entrepreneurs is freedom. And what I'm trying to do with my book is translate that freedom into financial freedom. How do you get to financial freedom with your business? And I wrote and talk about 3 levers that you can use to achieve that. And I'll go a bit more in detail about the 3 of them. The first one being put on bifocal glasses as an entrepreneur. The second one is think about your BBD. And BBD stands for best before date. And the last one is work with OPM and OPT. And I'll explain in a minute what that means. Now, bifocal glasses, what do I mean with that? Most of us, most founders, entrepreneurs, look at their business as a founder, an owner, a CEO. We have the vision, we see the opportunities, and we want to turn our business into a success. All fine, certainly needed. But I invite entrepreneurs also to look with a different pair of glasses to their business, and that's the one of a CFO, a Chief Financial Officer, running your business also by numbers, not only by passion. And some founders say, yes, but I have my accountant to do so, I have my business partner or my private partner to do so, or maybe you have a financial person part-time or full-time on board to do so. And my advice is never, as an owner, give your financial power away to someone else. You remain responsible for your figures. The second component of that financial view on your company is to look at your company as a CIO. And I do not mean a Chief Information Officer, which you would think if you're at this type of conference. I mean as a Chief Investment Officer. Because as a founder, you invest your money and your time into your company. And if you put on these financial glasses, you'll start looking at your business also as a financial asset, giving you a return. I invite founders to book money dates with themselves regularly, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. Choose a spot in your office, in your home, decorate it as a figure, a numbers corner, as a money corner, and sit there once in a while, preferably regularly and preferably pre-booked in your calendar to look at your finances, both for your business and your personal finances. Now, often female founders tell me, I don't understand a thing, it's all Chinese, I don't have the time to understand all this financial terminology, and I have people surrounding me doing that, so why would I invest the time? It will take too much time to get up to speed, to educate myself financially. And I contradict this. You do not need a Harvard MBA to work with your numbers. I don't have a Harvard MBA. I schooled myself throughout the years by reading books, by talking to people, by reading blogs, by getting interesting newsletters from interesting companies out there. It didn't cost me any money at all, apart from here and there 30 euros for a book and my time to listen in to certain webinars. So take the time to educate yourself financially and make this financial terminology, which is not that complicated, your own. The second question I ask is, do you know your best before date? We all have a best before date. Oh, at one point in time we'll leave this planet, but that's not what I'm referring to. We have several best before dates. Think about my daughter, she's 17. Well, my role has changed many, many times over the years. What she needs from me now is completely different than what she needed 10 years ago. So she dismissed me a couple of times from the roles I took in the past. And as an entrepreneur, you have a best before date for yourself. Think about your future as an entrepreneur. Do you have this one-time company? The company that you now have is the one company you ever have. You don't want to do anything else. You want to keep doing this until you are retired. So you're that one-time entrepreneur. Or are you a serial one, like I am? Maybe you're interested in investing in other businesses. Maybe you're interested in advising other businesses, like I do. I didn't think about all these potential roles when I first started out as an entrepreneur. I only started thinking about this later on, when I experienced what kept me warm and what kept me enthusiastic. And the second thing is that your company has a best before date as well. Think about that. Do you want to keep that company until you're retired? Do you want to sell it? Are you in a family business that you're going to hand over to your children or to other people in the family? What is the future of your company, and how can you work towards that exit and adapt your strategy accordingly? And that's what I mean, begin with the end in mind, but I tweak it to begin with your exit in mind. Think about what you want for yourself and your company. And the younger you are, the more fuzzy and flurry that exit is. If you would have asked me 30 years ago, what is your exit in 30 years, I would have said, what the hell do I know? You don't have to put it that far in the future. You can say, where do I want to be in 3 years, 5 years, 7 years' time? The horizon you set for yourself. And whether you stop working at a certain point in time and do nothing, move to some exotic island to just enjoy the money and the wealth that you build, or you keep busy and do different things or make a combination of different things like I do, it's your choice. There's no wrong or right in that. You're the entrepreneur, you decide. The last thing that will help you, there are 2 levers helping your company to grow. And it's not about marketing, it's not about sales, it's about time and money. And you can multiply both. And you're going to tell me, you can't multiply time. It's not possible. I mean, every second that ticks away is gone forever. You have a point, but you can multiply time. And I'll tell you how. You all know the book 80-20, the 80-20 principle by Richard Koch. And it says that 20% of your efforts generates 80% of your results. And as I'm an avid reader, in another book by Subi, I read he's applying that principle another time. And he says 20% of 20% of efforts generates 80% of 80% of results. So that means that 4% of your time generates 2/3 of your results. Now, this calculation is simple to make, but how do you come to that 4%? Well, I found a helpful tool with Rory Vaden's focus funnel. Certainly when you start as an entrepreneur, you're the Jack or Jill of all trades. You do everything all together. You don't have enough time. You're always stressed. But think about all the tasks that are in front of you and start asking that first question. Can you eliminate or ignore the task that is in front of you? And in my book, I describe the research I did on myself, and for a year, I tracked all the replies I sent to emails, messages through WhatsApp, whatever messaging tool you can imagine. And I came to the conclusion that 2 working months of my time went to sending unnecessary replies. 2 working months. Thank you for your message. I'll come back to it later. Replying out of politeness to people I didn't know, asking me things I didn't want, but just being polite. So I stopped doing this and gained a huge amount of time. Now, if you can't eliminate or ignore, you can automate, and this is what it's about today and yesterday and the day before that, isn't it? Automating as much as possible to be as efficient as possible with your time. If you can't automate, maybe you can delegate. Sorry, I'm going too fast. Maybe you can delegate the task. And it's not only in your business, it's also at a home front. I mean, my daughter taking the dog out, my daughter emptying the dishwasher, that's delegating. My students planning themselves in my calendar, that's delegating. So it doesn't all have to do with your business. If the task is still on your desk, 2 more questions to ask. Do I have to do it now? Can I do it later? And if you can do it later, you procrastinate on purpose. You plan it in your calendar. But this means that the majority of your tasks have low value in a sense that they do not contribute to the growth of your business. And 4%, or if you apply the principle only once, 20% of your tasks are high value tasks. Those are the things that you as a founder do to make your business successful. And that can be anything. You decide again. For some people it's sales, for other founders it's developing, designing products, whatever it is. Where you are, the thing that you are really unique at, that's the thing that you need to do to grow your business. And that means that all these low value tasks, there you're going to use other people's time, and that's the OPT I was talking about. Now you can apply the same principle to money. You can multiply money as well. And we're all very familiar with the principle. If we buy property, an apartment or a house, 80% of the cost of that property comes from a financial institution. It's not our own money. We borrow it from a bank, usually. Now suppose you have 100,000 euros and you would buy 1 property with that money. Or you divide it by 5, and for every 20,000 euros you borrow 80,000. That means that you can buy 5 properties, but also increase your return on investment by 5. Your company generates a number of things. Cash from paying customers, for instance, or from investors or financiers. The intention is that after a while you generate profit. Maybe not in the beginning, but if you are a company geared towards making profit, at some point in time you will. And the last thing is that your profit will decide about your value, the value of your company. Now, if you look at the cash in your company, 2 types of cash come your way as a founder. You pay yourself a salary and maybe some extra legal benefits. And 2, if you sell or if you pay dividends, if you sell your shares or if you pay dividends, that's money coming your way as well, which again you can invest personally. So with the money, with the profit, with the value that your company generates, you can invest in your company, you can invest personally and build your personal wealth. So that is setting yourself and your company these financial goals, and not only all the other goals that you set usually in your company. And the trick is, of course, that you decouple time from money. You decouple your time from generating money. That's how you can grow. I'm almost done. I would say stay tuned if you want. You can subscribe to my newsletter. It's on LinkedIn. You don't need to leave an email address. I won't bombard you with any messages. You just can follow me on LinkedIn. The second one is, if you want to have a sparring moment with me and my co-founders in the Onwards Collective, where we coach entrepreneurs, both male, female, and non-binary, on their path to growth, you can book yourself in for a 45-minute call. It's for free, no strings attached. And the last one, I'm having a regular monthly money date with listeners, viewers, through an online webinar where I go a bit deeper in all the topics that I discuss in my book. These are my 2 books, and I want to conclude by saying that money should never be your goal. It's a tool, it's not a goal. Your goal should be financial freedom. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, Véronique, for your interesting and very insightful talk. Let's wait some seconds for our Q&A sessions. Yeah, they're coming. Just
Okay.
a moment. It's quite a long one.
Okay. Tell me.
Yeah. Okay. Is it strategic to start off straight away with outsourcing and freeing your own time despite lower margins?
It depends what you outsource. What I see with starting entrepreneurs, they struggle often with, I don't like to do sales and I'm going to try and outsource selling my products or my services. And there I would say no. Certainly in the beginning phase, go out as much as you can. You're the one talking about your company with the most passion. A potential customer feels that, and you also hear the reaction, the feedback from people you want to sell to. And if afterwards you want to train someone to do sales for you, they can't fool you because you've been there before.
It's about gathering insights at first.
Gathering
maybe.
insights. And also, selling is hard.
Yeah.
In my first company, I waited a year to really do proactive sales. And I can tell you, I burned a lot of cash. A lot of cash, I can tell you. And it was all my money. It wasn't investors' money. But after a year, I realized I really need to go out and talk to potential customers. And then I started selling.
All right. Thank you. We have a remark. Happy to hear burning cash isn't my only problem. So it's shared. Then we have a second one. You talked about creating a company as a means to get personal wealth. What about buying a company?
Could be the same. I'm talking about, there's different ways to be an entrepreneur. Either you start out yourself or you buy something, an existing company, and that you turn into something better, bigger, more profitable. It's the same. It doesn't matter. Because starting out from scratch is the hardest thing to do. Mm-hmm. Hardest thing to do. If you have already something that you can tweak a bit, and maybe people, employees that are used to working in that company, I'm not going to say it's easy. Being an entrepreneur is never easy. And there's no difference between being a female and a male entrepreneur or a non-binary one. It's gender neutral doing business or starting a business.
So let's say you buy yourself in with the founder of the company. How does something like that work, and how do you keep the exit in mind in that case?
If you're with more than one founder, you have to agree. You have to know each other's goals. In my current company, there's 3 founders with different ages. So we have different perspectives on exiting. And different mindsets. I don't have the horizon that my younger co-founder has. So we discussed that beforehand. How do you see the future of this company? Is this something that you want to continue once the 2 other founders who are the same age, me and Connie van den Driessen, step out, and you want to continue? Then we have to discuss how you're going to buy our shares. Do we have to agree something already now? And it's all described. So it takes communication and trying to be clear, and maybe take your time also to think about it. Because, if I ask you, what's your exit professionally? What do you know now? If you don't think about it, go out for a coffee with yourself or take a retreat somewhere to think about it. And it will evolve over time. It will evolve over time, certainly.
I think we have another. Okay. At what point do you look for a CFO? Who can help you in the late startup, early scale-up phase?
Yeah. First of all, don't think about hiring a CFO as someone you need full-time in your company right away. I mean, there's plenty of people out there where you can buy their time by the hour, by the day, so that you don't have someone on your payroll, or if you have a co-founder, a financial co-founder, that's you're lucky.
Yeah.
But usually you don't. Don't stay away from asking people, other entrepreneurs, for help. I mean, entrepreneurs like to help other entrepreneurs for free. Most of them don't even ask money. I mean, go out for a coffee, go there with your figures and say, no, I need some help, I don't understand, I don't know what to do, could you advise me on this? Most financially savvy people will be happy to help without saying, I'm going to send you my invoice. And even if they send an invoice for an hour or two with you, no harm done. Once you grow to a certain stage, and in my first book you have this, it's the most popular page in my book, and I haven't invented it myself, I'm sorry. All the rest I wrote myself, but I took it from an Australian accountant entrepreneur. It shows you the phases you go through from 0 revenues to 4-5 million plus, and the growth of your company in terms of people, in terms of clients, in terms of struggles, in terms of limiting or limitations that you have. And I think a financial person, if you're not financially savvy yourself, but surrounding yourself with a good financially savvy person in or out your company is one of the most important things you can do. But you have to train yourself as well, really. And as long as you don't have money to hire a full-time CFO, certainly you're the only one in your company responsible for it. Later on you can share responsibility, but never let it go fully.
Thanks a lot, Veronique, for your insights.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks a lot again.
And thanks to all of you for your time. Appreciate it.